Hi, Miami. Welcome. This is Miami Community Newspapers, and you're watching the Women to Women show. I am your host, Cristina Hernandez. And with me today is Stephanie Ledger. How are you?
Doing well. Thanks, Christina.
Thanks for coming on. And Stephanie has a company called First Rate Hospitality, which is all about getting your business, typically mostly in hospitality, that top rate, first rate service,
Exactly.
ratings and everything. So, but before we get into first rate hospitality and how it all kind of came into fruition, let's kind of talk about your background because you have an amazing, you know this, and every time I talk to Stephanie about this, she has her pulse on the hospitality industry.
Well, yeah. So I started when I was 17. So you would think that would have been yesterday, but I was in high school, and my parents were like, "You're very involved in your afternoon after school activities. You need to get a job." And it would be traditionally go and be a hostess at Outback or Red Lobster, one of the restaurants. And I was like, well, I'm going to get a job at Ritz-Carlton because they're paying the most. And I grew up in Naples. And in high school, I wanted to be a elementary school teacher. So I needed more time with kids. And so at Ritz-Carlton, they have a day camp, which is called Ritz Kids, where the parents can drop off their kids. And when I was working there, I quickly fell in love with the hotel industry. Didn't want to be an elementary school teacher anymore. And so I just started moving around into different departments. And once I became of age of 18 to then start working in the restaurant serving, went into the front desk, sales, reservations, and then I had the opportunity to move to New York City. And so I was able to transfer with the company, continuing to grow my career and taking on more leadership roles and living in New York City. They tell you if you're going to like it or you're going to hate it. And I loved it.
Yeah, there's so much to do there.
Oh, yes. And spent several years there, continuing my career in the hotel industry. And then I had an opportunity to move out into to Napa. And I was like, okay, if I'm going to keep moving around, now I want to do something different. And then had the opportunity to work for Forbes Travel Guide. And so here I was now traveling around China and Hong Kong and Macau, as well as the United States, and checking in as a mystery shopper and evaluating these 5-star, 4-star properties. And it was great because typically it would be someone that's much older. And then here I am checking in and really, being able to see how the staff is able to handle someone that's typically who they don't think is the spotter. So I did that. And then I had an opportunity to work with a staffing agency, was traveling around and training the employees in housekeeping and also too in the public area attendance, which was great, and really elevating the service for different brands, which was great to now seeing different brands as well. And then it was in 2017 that I was like, wow, with all of my experience, I think I can make a company out of this.
Yeah.
So then that's how First Rate Hospitality, where we come in first to rate the property, elevate the service, also to first rate, meaning the best of the best, and really, helping the hotels get to where they need to be on their level of service.
I mean, whenever I met you and you were talking about your experience and how this all came to be, I'm like, wow. I mean, I think traveling and just seeing the world is the best education.
Yes.
Money, I mean, that could buy memories, don't buy things.
No, exactly.
And, to have that background from the Ritz-Carlton that we all, associate with, top rate first-rate hospitality,
Exactly.
and then going to Forbes Travel Guide and having that experience of like, I know what it takes to be the best of the best.
Yes.
And let's see, let's check off the boxes and see if you fill that rating with Forbes Travel Guide, and seeing how all the other resorts do it. Like,
Yeah.
it's amazing. What are some of like the current topics happening right now in hospitality? Like, what are our current issues happening here in South Florida?
So the one is with making sure that we have the staffing.
Mm-hmm.
The staffing to be able to provide the service into the hotel.
Mhm.
That's definitely a major issue. Also, too, the demands of the guests have changed.
Mhm.
You with a lot of the COVID restrictions, so the cleanliness, making sure that the guest is feeling safe as well as the employee.
Mhm.
But really just that the staffing, to making sure that the hotels and restaurants are having the staff to be able to provide the service.
Yeah. And also, kind of one of the things that you've talked to me about is technology
Yes.
versus hospitality.
Yes.
I mean, let's go into that a little bit.
Yeah. So we are seeing that, the hotels are really embracing technology, where we're seeing at the front desk, maybe just someone there to guide you at the kiosk, to being able to check in. You put in your credit card, and then you get your room key, and then go up.
But technology coming to South Florida and how that's affecting hospitality.
Oh, yes. And so, yeah, now we're seeing these different industries as well that's now created more competition
Yeah.
for these hotels. And then we're also seeing the warehouses out by the airports as well. And so there is a lot of also too just major companies that are coming down here in different industries. And so before, Miami used to be such a hospitality. We really relied on our winter season, snowbird season, and now turning into even more and more of an all year
Our
busy.
economy is so heavy in tourism, but now tourism is competing with tech for employees.
Exactly.
And so it's really struggling. I was telling, I noticed this weekend having dinner at a restaurant, and I saw like in this restaurant 3 different signs for, we are hiring, please apply within $500 signing bonus for servers.
Yeah.
I was like, so yeah, that's competing because I know that the hotels are struggling to get really good employees. And
then they're competing against their neighbor as well. So this restaurant A or Hotel A has the sign-in bonus of $500, and now the next place will have it at $750. And so you're now starting to see all of this different competition of just trying to get the staff as well.
What do you see as the biggest issue in hospitality, like here in South Florida?
Well, it starts off with the employee engagement. Is that really, how can you expect your employees to engage with your customers or guests when they're not even being engaged themselves in their workplace? So it starts there first, of making sure that your employees are feeling the engagements, and also to feeling that they belong there, and that they're respected as well. So I would have to say that's one. And then also too, with now more and more hotels are opening up too. So I think it's by the end of this year we're going to have another 2,000 rooms added on to already what we have. So it's more and more competition with even in the industry itself, with more hotels opening up.
Airbnb.
Yes,
Vrbo.
Airbnb. Yep, and that's as well, especially because if hotels are cutting certain services such as housekeeping, then we'll start seeing the guests, and we're seeing that they feel more comfortable staying in an Airbnb, and so now that's even added on to competition here in the area, because also too with a lot of people working from home, which we're seeing up north, they're staying down here longer, and so they do see that an Airbnb may be more suited for them as well, since they're working from home. But now we have it where we call, instead of WFH, working from home, but working from hotels. I mean, who wouldn't want to just sit by the pool and be on their laptop?
What else did I want to ask you? So, like, let's say I'm this hotel here, and I want to bring you in to help my clientele, kind of help level them up. What do? Do you start out as kind of like a secret shopper, and then what would be?
Yeah, so first doing the research, seeing what the guest comments are on the reviews, also to coming in just as a typical guest, to then being able to evaluate in different scenarios, and also to engaging in conversation with the executive team. They're the ones that see it from day in and day out with their own team, and knowing what the expectation is, but what's actually happening. So we really can then create this customized training for the employees. So it's not coming in First Rate Hospitality and saying this is our cookie cutter training. We really customize it to the property and what they're trying to achieve as well. So they may already be very strong in front desk for creating that warm welcome and that fond farewell. But then the guests, they go out to the pool or to the beach, and they notice a difference in the service. And so it's, we want to making sure, let's really focus where the height of the opportunities arise, and then making sure we're still touching upon the other areas, to then being able to retrain or just re-energize what needs to be done. And it's not just the AM team that we do the training, but then it's also too with the overnight training and the evening shifts as well, is because you want to making sure that it's consistent throughout the guest journey.
Do you feel that technology has helped elevate a guest experience?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's now with the technology of having things at you so quickly as well, is that you can be able to book your spa appointments and booking your restaurant reservations all before you even arrive. Also too, maybe you're just having a relaxing stay and you want to be able to continue a Netflix series on your guest room TV. And now with all the technology, you're able to like your home away from home experience, but then also too with like the timeliness of service. So it really has been enhancing. And then also too with knowing high reservation times, with all of the data that we're getting to from the technology, has helped as well, of being like, okay, we need to making sure that we're having more staff on during this time, because data shows that we're going to be busy during this time with all the reservations, or this is the popular item menu, so we want to making sure that we have enough to accommodate, so we're not running out of the amazing dessert at the end of the night.
Right. Now with COVID, I'm sure it's difficult. Also, some of the employees don't know quite how to interact with their customers.
Yes.
Because some customers do want more. I would think it's the older customers. let's touch on that a little bit.
Yeah, so the first is also too with safety. So with the employees wearing the mask, it's not showing their smile. And then they, it's all about reading your guests, and that's what we trained throughout the years of reading the guests. Is this a business guest that they're trying to run to their meetings, or is this a leisure guest that they're here to engage and want to experience more on property? But it's the same way too now with all of the restrictions and guidelines, is reading your guests. Okay, is this one that, maybe this is their first time that they're out and adventuring out, and they're still a little unsure. So you're starting to, picking up those clues that they're backing up from you. Or maybe they're like, oh, this is my first time out. I'm so happy I get to talk to people. This is great. So it's all, the employees being able to pick up those clues, and also to, but for themselves, the employee themselves, to making sure that they feel comfortable with engaging with the guests. It's all about making sure the employees.
It's a crazy time.
Oh yeah, it really, really is.
And we also have the cruise industry.
Yes.
The airport, Brightline, our city, just like all of these areas have.
Yep. And it's a trickle effect. We were starting to see a few months ago with the airlines having to cancel flights because of their staff shortages. And so seeing, how is that now going to trickle down to the hotels? Cruise lines, we're seeing, the cruise lines are getting back out there and, in a safe setting. And, now that's great, because before we would always hear, okay, the cruise lines are getting ready to go and depart in October. So the hotels were preparing, being like, okay, we have to get the staff ready, because we're going to see in South Florida now with the cruise lines guests, because they usually stay the day before or the day after. And so now seeing, okay, where are they looking at their occupancy and their restrictions, because now we'll start feeling that here. And then Brightline, can't wait, personal fan of them. And
I've been dying to try the Brightline, and I haven't yet.
Oh yeah, before the pandemic, I would be on there at least once a month, getting up to Fort Lauderdale or West Palm to see other clients. And so coming November, they've officially announced that they'll be back up and running their normal stops, at least for the winter and next year, with Miami, Fort Lauderdale, West Palm, which brings, it's great. You get on the Brightline and then you're down here in Miami and being able to explore, and vice versa. Us locals, we're able to go up there. And then next year, it'll be going all the way to Orlando. And that's going to really, I think, bring a lot of more tourism here. Because now you're going to have the ones that fly in to go to Disney, and now they want to extend their trip, and then now they can get on the Brightline and then come here, and then vice versa. The ones that are on the cruises, and then they're like, oh, we can now take a quick trip up to Disney and still fly out of Miami. And the airport expanding with more and more airlines coming in, more and more international routes. This is the place to be. So I'm excited that, growing the company here in Miami and creating that local community with the training and the different services that we offer, to really, making sure that when we are having these tourists coming in, that they want to come back.
I have to tell my personal experience just in dealing with you and interacting with you and becoming friends with you. You really have your pulse on all the different markets, and all the different markets have different issues that they're facing. And it's so interesting whenever I talk to you, you're like, this is the issue Tampa's facing. This is the issue Orlando's facing. This is the issue Miami or Fort Lauderdale, or they all have different issues. Obviously there is some, overlap, but you really, have your pulse on what's going on, and it's just like, wow.
A wealth of knowledge.
You are. I love talking to you every time, because I'm just like, oh wow, she knows so much. And I'm not just saying that. And the other thing is like, as you've seen, having watched this show, anybody watching this show, I love to share what I love. And when I meet people that just like resonate and and supporting other women. And
Yes.
you're part of
Oh,
that.
yes.
So here at the Women to Women show, towards the end, I love to ask some fire questions.
Okay, ready.
So what's your favorite? Okay, and we love to support local. So favorite local restaurant.
Favorite local restaurant is Mr. O1 Pizza. It's
Mr.
O1
O1 Pizza.
Pizza.
Okay.
They started off in South Beach. They have a place in Brickell. And they're expanding internationally over in Naples. I grew up in Naples, so now I tell all my friends and family, you have to check out this pizza. Living in New York, we're very critical about our pizza. But it's also too, in the name. Did you know that Mr. O1, the pizza actually the name comes from the O1 visa? It's the extraordinary visa. So this is usually what the extraordinary athletes or movie stars, this is the visa that they usually will come on, so then they can be able to do filming or whatever they need to do here in the States.
I didn't know this.
Yeah, and so it's extraordinary Mr. O1 Pizza. And so even the chef, he came on the O1 visa to start his pizza business. Yeah, so it is my go-to.
And for
local.
you to recommend it means it's got her seal of approval.
Yes.
Do you have a favorite? Do you have like one of my favorite things to ask is always like, what's your best kept secret here in Miami?
Well, it's always because I don't have a car, I'm still living that New York lifestyle. And so it's always unique of trying to get to different places. And, usually with public transportation.
Economic.
Exactly. It's like, okay, we'll not take the Uber Lux.
Right.
But I would have to say the new ferry, the Poseidon Ferry, $5 for a local. And you're in downtown, right by the Hyatt, and it takes
Hyatt
you
in downtown.
Yes,
has a ferry.
Yes, it's it docks there, and then it takes you to South Beach Point area. And so you're in 20 minutes, you're over on the other side for $5 for a local. It's great that they're working with the community to giving a discount for locals. And it leaves every half hour. So it'll be like 1 o'clock, it'll be leaving downtown. You get to South Beach by like 1:20, depending on boat traffic. Traffic. Then at 1:30, it's coming back over. And so it just keeps going on that route. And it's nice. I mean, it's just even on a great day to just being like, okay, I'm doing something outdoors. I'm getting the fresh air.
I had no idea about this.
Yes. Yeah.
See, this is why I love asking that question. And what's it called?
Poseidon Ferry.
Poseidon Ferry, out of the Hyatt.
Yes, they're docked there, and that's also too where they have their ticket booth as
cool.
well.
Favorite coffee shop?
Favorite coffee shop? I like to mix it up. For me, I'm always with my laptop and on the go, so it has to have great outlets.
Okay.
I mean, of course, great coffee, but great outlets to then being able to really enjoy the atmosphere.
Okay. Favorite book or podcast?
I'm not really much of a reader, but I do like engaging in different news articles, and then seeing that rabbit hole where, that leads to, it's like, oh, now let me Google and research more of this and read more. And, that's how I get to know it, having that pulse.
Yeah.
But to sit there and read, a 300-400 page book, I like it right then and there.
Yeah. Podcast?
I just kind of Google something I want to do. Some weeks I would do something about like a woman in business. And so there's a podcast called she forget the name. We'll put it in the link, but
Okay.
it's about just women entrepreneurship. And so, you know, or it would be like something of marketing. I need
Mhm.
to, you know, do something with my social media. So I'll, you know, put like women in business social media,
I do the
and
same
then
thing.
seeing what, you know, comes up, and then, you know, being like, wow, this really resonates with what I need to do, or I'm on the right path.
Yeah.
Wow, they really think the same way that I do.
Well, Stephanie, thanks so much for being on.
Oh, thank
I
you.
loved, you know, for our audience to learn more about First Rate Hospitality, your background, how this all came to fruition. I'm really excited for you now that hopefully, well, all these variants, but life
Yes.
has to go on. And, you know,
Yes. And we're making sure too with our training, it's the also the cleanliness, you know, with
Mhm.
my background in housekeeping, and also to the not just the guest safety but the employee safety.
Mhm.
So we can really making sure that we can continue to having a great season ahead of us with tourism in a safe way.
I know we can find you on Instagram.
Yes.
First Rate Hospitality.
Yes.
Your website has a great video, great content. I love you did a great job on your website.
Thank you.
Podcast.
Podcast.
Now we're on this podcast. So anyway, want to learn more about First Rate Hospitality, look her up. And if you need to take your business to the next level, also reach out to Stephanie. And we love supporting women in business. So if you have a business or a topic that's women centric you would like to promote or to touch on, reach out and connect. We love to hear from you. Thanks for watching the Women to Women show. We'll see you next week. Bye, Miami.